Stranger things have happened in this chamber, by the way.
No.
Just so you know.
I'm sure.
All right, this is a try. I was skipping through this. I saw a tweet. I was looking at a tweet, which brought me back to this. Whoops. Oh, fuck, I lost it. Well, anyway, I saw a tweet about this, and they said that the city council ended up roasting Trimet, so I turned it back on to see this, and I happened to see this Trimet bus driver making testimony, so let's hear it.
My name is John Gove. I'm a Southeast Portland resident. I'm also a Trimet bus driver. Have been for 4 years, and just for the record, I ride my bike to work every day. As a Trimet bus operator, I have a front row seat to the daily impacts of the congestion caused by too many vehicles operating in too little or poorly designed roadway space. I experienced firsthand the snowball effect of traffic delays. When one bus gets delayed due to traffic congestion, it affects all the buses on that line, as it has been testified earlier today. I see the frustrated faces at the bus stops when an overfull bus drives by them, passing them up. The roads lanes and dedicated bus lanes help reduce or entirely eliminate this problem. As a passenger, if you can't trust that the bus you would like to take is going to consistently be on time, then you have no choice but to take the next earliest bus. This disrupts your entire home schedule in the morning and affects when you get home at night. Passengers feel a loss of control. It's no wonder so many choose to drive. The Rosalane Project and others PBOT and Trimet are implementing will bring people back into the bus because it brings consistency and trust back into the scheduling during the times that matter most to the working families. That's it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you for your...
That was pretty good, wasn't it? That's where I met, but looks like a pretty cool dude. They hire those cool dudes now.
service with Trimet.
All right,
To measuring?
All right, I'm all happy about all these testimonies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
that's,
very
that's
much.
good, Don. We appreciate it.
But I don't
Maybe
care
a
about it for
quick
some
comment.
reason. I don't know. I only care about
All right.
Trimet
Need
meeting.
and want to go.
I'm transit dependent during the winter, especially.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thoroughly supportive of this.
So,
I'm
yeah.
transit.
Strong. North, West, and
All right, I want to hear the City Hall discussion. Remember when Sam Adams strong-armed Trimet, man? Remember that? Trimet was going to get rid of the youth path, and Sam Adams just smashed their head against the wall. And Trimet had to restore the pass. That was one of the best things. That was probably the only thing I liked about Sam Adams was the way he strong-armed the Trimet. I don't know if you remember that, but I do, and it was good.
Neighborhood Association, excellent. But that body is missing. They should be collating all these.
I don't care. Sorry, I like you, but
We
I
have
want-
an emergency ordinance. Any further discussion?
Okay,
on the
here's the
resolution
discussion. Let's
before
hear
we call the roll? Carla called the roll on the resolution.
Wait a minute.
Fritz. Well, I've been a dedicated
Oh.
transit rider for 61 years now, going on 62.
She's not even
34
from
here
America.
in Portland, and 94, 12, and 44 are my most used bus rides.
94 and 12.
And I'm transit dependent during the winter, especially. So I'm thoroughly supportive of this. I think it's a really great project. Thank you, Commissioner Udaly and Jamie Dewhamel on your staff,
They're all
Chris
win-win.
Warner and April Goodinson in particular, also Christian Hull from Portland Bureau of Transportation, Doug Kelsey and our partners from Trimet who are here today, the many community-based organizations and members who provided testimony. Thanks to Carrie Waters and Irene Marion, who are doing really great work on equity in contracting and other aspects of the Portland Bureaus of Transportation's work. And thanks finally to Mi Song Kwan on my staff, who helps me understand all of this. Aye.
Hardesty.
I want to take this opportunity to really thank Commissioner Udaly and the incredible staff at PBOT who've worked on this. It's always fascinating to see things move quick at the City of Portland, right?
So let me just interject here. You know, I read Dissident Voice. It's a kind of an online magazine of stuff you'll never see in the mainstream media. And they really, I guess Sam Adams is going after her, and he's got all the corporate backing and stuff. They want to get rid of her. So Sam Adams is going after her, you daily. And Sam Adams, you know, he's had his time. Goodbye. I hope he doesn't get back in.
Right? And so I just want to really appreciate the fact that there's a great vision. We know where we're headed. We know why we're doing it. And we just need our real partners at the regional level to actually really step up and help us make this vision a reality. And it is my understanding that they have a regional approach, and Trimet has a vision that is region for the city of Portland. We're really focused on the people, and I applaud that we are focused on the people who are most transit dependent first, because it is still my belief that people who have options will always have options, and people with limited options will have limited options unless we do better as the governmental entities that are responsible for making that so. And so it is my hope that as we move forward with this project, that Trimet gets really specific about how they're going to go back and invest in the areas where those investments have been lacking, because it doesn't make sense to me to be building more when what we have in place is not adequate.
Wow, she just hit the nail in the head. This is what okay, she just hit the nail in the head. She just slammed the Southwest Corridor project for exactly the right reason. Okay. Why are you building more when what you have is inadequate? And those of us that know this material know why, because it's the light rail mafia wants its money. We know the answer to this. The people running Trimet couldn't care less. They're just government, just like every other. They don't care about the people. They care about the elite special interest. The whole Southwest Corridor is about special interest. It's not about people. And she just slammed it.
And I would love to talk to Trimet's board the next time we're putting in new buses to figure out who gets the butt cheek leans and who gets the real bus stops. I vote aye.
Good for you.
You
You
daily.
had to work that in, didn't you?
She's never going to let it go. Please. Talk to her.
It is what it is.
Okay, I like the way she did that.
Well, thank you, colleagues. Thank you, everyone who came today. I have a long list of other thank yous, but first I want to share a few brief reflections.
You know, I'm not a fan of government. I don't have to go over this over and over, but I don't trust any of these people, okay? I just don't, because they're participating in a bankrupt structure. But I haven't given up total hope that something good can come out of something. Maybe this is it.
Number one, I want to assure my colleagues and the public that with every project PBOT advances, we ask ourselves two questions. How does this project help us reach our climate goals? And how does this project help us reach our racial equity goals? And this project is a huge step forward for both. I'm really proud of you. They tell me that 1 year is lightning speed in transportation. It feels like a long time to me. But I want to appreciate you. Jamie touched on this, and I can't say it enough. There is an ongoing Harvard study about upward mobility that shows commute time is the single strongest factor in the odds of escaping poverty. That's not something that we have ever talked about or addressed as long as I've been on city council. And since I learned it last year,
Okay, I don't, this part I don't like, okay? It's not about poverty. You're not going to solve poverty, and I wish they wouldn't bring this up. You're trying to make things easier and faster for people. Just leave it at that, okay? You're not going to solve the social ills with public transportation, but you make people have an easier way to get around town. This should be the sole objective.
Railvolution, it has just been playing over and over again in my head. We are caught in a vicious cycle where low-income people
Wow.
who are
Rail-
transit dependent,
Did she
who are
just-
more likely to be from communities of color, are being forced out to the outer edges of our city with inadequate public transportation.
Did she just slam Railvolution? Is that what she just did? I think she did.
And greatly diminished access to jobs and education and other amenities that the rest of us get to enjoy. So I just want to promise you that individual is at the heart of these decisions, even if phase one, you're not seeing all those red lines out in East Portland. That is really who we are aiming to serve. It's just one solution. I do believe it's a huge step forward, and I absolutely know there is a lot of more work to do. As a disability advocate and someone who navigates the city with a kid on four wheels, I bring perhaps somewhat unique perspective to this conversation and some different vocabulary. I think a lot about universal design, which is usually something that we talk about in the context of physical ability, but I think about universal design in the context of policy and our transportation projects. Another really lovely term from the disability world is deviations, standard deviations from the norm. That's how children are evaluated for special education services. How many deviations from the norm? And I mentioned that. And the third thing is I know painfully well how hard it is to navigate a world that was not made for you through my experience with my son. This city was not made for cyclists, pedestrians, or bus riders. Unfortunately, it was made for automobile drivers, and we are now trying to correct that kind of over dedication of resources and space and priority to drivers. And I know it's painful and it's unpopular with some people, but it absolutely has to happen. When we address the needs of the extremes in our community, and in this case I'm thinking of someone who's low income who lives in East Portland, the middle will take care of itself. If we get to the challenges and barriers that that person in East Portland is experiencing, everyone along that bus route, everyone along that income line, everyone who has slightly more privilege is going to benefit from what we delivered to that person. So that's another thing I think about a lot. Okay. Now for my thank yous. I want to thank a lot of people for making this happen and for making it happen so quickly. Just forget I said that thing earlier. First, thank you to PBOT staff who have worked many late nights and weekends. My apologies. This last year to keep on pace with our timeline. Huge thank you to April Burleson, who has been the lead staffer on the Rose Lane project. I also want to thank Art Pierce, Emma Sagor, Kristen Hull, Denver Rigarda, Mauricio Leclerc, Mel Kriniech, Gina Gastaldi, Mike Saratella, Shane Valet, Zeph Wagner, and Paul Belton. I also want to thank our community partners for coming to the table over many months to help us stay focused on how this project can change people's lives. You heard from many of them, and you heard more asks from most of them as well, and we encourage them to do that. We want the criticism, we want the feedback, and we need you to bring pressure to bear on the council, on the bureau, on Trimet to do as much as we can.
It just came to my mind. I don't know if you saw, I saw the Eli Ritchie interviews with Hardesty and with her. I don't think he has them up anymore. With the greatest. Oh man, that had me rolling on the floor in laughter. It still makes me laugh when I think of Eli's interview with these two. She's a lot better. She's a lot more well spoken than I actually thought she'd be. I haven't listened to this. I don't listen to politicians. I just don't. I don't want to hear. I don't listen to them because they're professional liars. I'm not interested in what they have to say. So this is the first time I've actually listened to any of these people in a full. I listened to Sam Adams way back when he slammed Trimet, but I'm not involved in politics. I'm a transit geek. I keep trying to tell people I'm a transit geek. I'm not into the political intrigue. Come on.
A huge thank you to Jess Thompson, Carrie Schlossauer, Sydney, McCotter
Who are all
Bicknell,
those
Tristan
people?
Isaac, Richa Podell, Alan Kessler,
Oh.
Clint Culpepper, Darren Golden, Ashton Simpson,
Yeah,
Kim
gotta
Marks,
get-
Vivian Satterfield, Adi Leverett, Anna
So
Kemper,
she's got all the
and Andrew
activists
Riley.
in there. Yeah.
Also, thank you to our partners at Trimet for coming to the table and being
Coming to
willing
the
to
table.
negotiate increased service. It's vital for us to continue to work as partners on these lines, with each side committing to pushing ourselves further than either of us think is possible. And finally, I want to thank my colleagues and their staff for their support, and my own
Okay,
staff for their hard work
Chloe,
on
come
this.
on.
Jamie Duhamel,
You don't
my
have to
policy
give
director
everybody
and
credit,
lead
just
PBOT
vote.
liaison, initiated this project with the Bureau, created and facilitated the internal
This is the politics. See, I don't want to hear your politics. Just get to do the work and stop with the politics.
advisory group, and has been my voice with the Bureau and the community on this item all along the way. And I want to add, while this may not have happened without me sitting in this seat, it definitely wouldn't have happened without Jamie. So while I get all the thanks and accolades and the
Actually, that's not even true, man. Okay, this wouldn't have happened without Kessler. Okay, he started it and she took it, and she says it wouldn't happen without some. I don't even know what she's talking about. But I remember when all of this talk started. And this is what happens in politics anyway. This is what they do. You get a good idea of somebody, and the citizen and politicians run with it if they think it's a good one. So that's what's happening here.
roses, you need to direct some of them at her. Thank you to the rest of my
All
staff
right,
for the
all
behind-the-scenes
right. Get
support
going,
that's pushed
Chloe.
this
I know you're up
initiative
for a
over the
re-election.
finish line. Please join us for a reception
Oh, a reception.
in the
Huh?
lobby and selfie opportunity with the cardboard cutout of a Trimet bus.
Oh my God.
Very proud of what we're doing here together today, and I enthusiastically vote aye.
Wheeler.
Well, thank you. First of all,
Teddy baby.
Commissioner Udaly, thank you for this. I've said this in private, and I'll say it in public. I may have said this in public before.
You're such a
but,
plutocrat, Ted.
When I assigned you the Transportation Bureau, frankly,
Ted, look at this guy. He's a plutocrat if there ever was one. He's like in the Kennedy vein of plutocrats.
neither of us really had a very deep understanding of either what I was handing to you or what you were accepting.
I beg to
And
to.
my experience has been that you have done an exceptional job as our transportation commissioner, and you have an exceptional team at PBOT. And when we first discussed the Rose Lane project, I think it was months and months ago, I was enthusiastically supportive then, and I think you sort of looked at me and said, you do realize this is controversial, right? And I remember sort of laughing and going, this may be why I'm not a particularly gifted politician, because I see this
Same.
as not being particularly controversial. I see this as an absolutely essential movement in the right direction. And I just want to acknowledge some of the testimony we heard tonight. This is about systems. It's not just about a project.
Oh, Cha-Cha,
And it
don't
isn't even
you-
just about
Cha-Cha.
transportation. What we heard
See, Cha-Cha, your buddy, there's your buddy. He's talking all good shit, Cha-Cha.
testimony on today, just taking some quick notes. We heard people talk about the critical nature of the Rose Lanes in a good transit system in terms of jobs. And we heard about
Jobs.
shared economic prosperity.
Yeah, that's
and we
bullshit.
heard from people who said this was critical to their education and to the education of their children. We heard from people who said this is a critical component of families being able to experience the community fully and be
See,
able to
this
spend
is the
more time
politics
together.
here, and I
We
can't
heard
stand
about
it.
equity repeatedly as being a hallmark of this project. And I want to thank you, Commissioner, and I want to thank your staff, Jamie. I want to thank the PBOT people, and I want to thank, frankly, all the advocates in the room. We heard from a lot of organizational leaders who are our partners in the community.
What happened to the beard?
Who also
He
share
had a beard
this
for a
really
while.
great vision. Now I want
Now
to
he's
take
got
two
that,
slight
that
digressions.
2-day
Digression number
shave
one.
look. That's a cool
Although I
look.
was born and raised in this city, I've also lived in cities like Boston and
Oh.
New York, where the transit systems are truly complete,
Yeah.
they are reliable, and
No.
they're frequent. And Commissioner Fritz mentioned this.
They're complete, yes. Boston's, you can't compare Boston and Portland. Reliable? Sometimes, geez, he's not, yeah, okay.
About her experience in London, even though they're often on the wrong side of the roads for reasons that are inexplicable to the rest of us.
And the
But-
buses are 2 stories.
Yeah, that is actually fun. Yeah, that is actually fun. But that's really a diversion here. But this has to be our vision for the future. And I thank our Trimet partners for being here today. Bernie, you come here
Oh,
frequently.
Bernie Bottomley, I missed that one.
The incoming comes your way because we have a transit
Maybe we can
system like
find
so
Bernie
many
Bottomley
East Coast or West Coast transit systems that were built, as Commissioner Udaley said, in the era of the automobile. And so it wasn't emphasized the same way it has been on the older East Coast cities where they built that infrastructure and assumed people wouldn't have automobiles. But
Yeah, they built the infrastructure and they pilfered the treasury of those transit systems, and now they're all a decrepit mess.
they assume people would in fact all share public transit in a meaningful way. And so we have to take the steps, whatever they be, to create this system, because we know we're not going to create any more roads, not in the central city. It ain't going to happen. There's nowhere for it to go. So we have to be more thoughtful about how to build a transit system that works and achieves all these goals around economic prosperity, jobs, education, family, equity. All of these things are an integral part to the community, and this is a great first step. So I just want to say kudos to everyone involved in this. I'm very, very enthusiastically supportive. I vote aye. Resolution's adopted. To the ordinance, please call the roll.
Fritz? I really like it when we have two things to vote on, especially when I'm the first person to vote, because as each of my colleagues talks, I think, oh, I should have said this. So I will be going to England on Monday to celebrate my mother's 90th birthday in Leeds. Thank you. Leeds, which is about the same size as Portland. Once you turn 65, you can ride off-peak for free.
No, you
that,
can't
that
ride
was
for
mentioned
free
that
in
the
Portland.
buses are busy, so it works for me because it means my mother doesn't get me out at the crack of dawn to go do things. So that's one suggestion I have. In London, when you get to be 60, whether you're working on, you get to ride the whole transit system for free at any time. So I think there are multiple things that we could do to reward people. And first of all, and Trimet, aren't you just excited about how excited people are about transit? I mean, this is a great city that we live in where we are all looking at the multiple benefits of transit. Just one other thing I wanted to mention, I brought up the issue of transportation network companies, and I'm hoping that these lanes will be for buses, including shuttle buses of institutions. Somebody testified about bikes and allowing bikes to use them, and I know that Commissioner Udaley is talking about that. When I raised this with my staff, the cyclists all said, we're terrified of buses. And I said, when I'm on a bus ride, when I'm riding a bus, I'm terrified of the cyclists, and they do slow down. Because the drivers are expert, but they have to slow down to let the cyclists go past. So I just wanted to mention that as you continue to figure out how this is going to work, that I hope that we have safe facilities safe, dedicated facilities.
Okay, Amanda, shut up already.
Have the right of way and
Come on, I don't care about it.
Happy to support it. I vote aye. Ordinance is adopted.
Okay, now,
A train on today.
let's see if I can find Bernie. I want
car I
to.
can get to my end destination.
I'm going to try to make a quick.
Impact on traffic. Second is the
who's this guy?
tolling of I-5, which will also have a
They're beeping him like the state does. They have that
To
beep.
measuring success, including striving for
I
improvements
think that's
and
Opal
reliability.
there. So you keep going.
Implementation of the Rosaline project, but to make sure the elected officials and
Okay, no.
But I'm also really
yeah.
looking for
Wait, I got to go way back. I'm way.
Leshka. Sorry,
Keep going. This was a long.
A great transportation
There's
city.
Allen. Keep going back.
That is specifically due to the lack of service that Trimet has.
Oh, this guy's a Rosewood.
Provided in East
Rosewood, I think.
Portland. And another comment.
Here's
for
what's his
our
name?
Trimet. You all do.
I forgot, but he's right-wing guy.
Yeah.
Where's TriMet?
So the answer is yes, but we have
Where's the TriMet testimony?
aspiring to.
All right. I can't find Bromley. I'm not gonna.
Oh,
There he is. Okay, wait. All right, hold on.
Proportions of low.
Okay, let's hear what this guy's
Back to a couple of questions.
This guy's been an insider in Oregon.
And we're proposing that we could have phase 1
Okay,
and phase 2 implementation by fiscal year 23, 24. So we're working really hard to try and push as hard as we can to move those frequencies as fast as we can to match the investments.
I haven't really been following all of this that closely because I know that competent people are actually on this. And I don't need to be following this because other people are that actually have much more understanding of all of this than I do. And I think it looks like it's going to actually happen.
That the city's making on the street to prioritize transit.
Okay, where's Bottomley? I want to hear what he's got to say. She's not TriMet, is she? Oh, yeah, she is
So
TriMet.
I breezed through that really quickly.
Okay.
I think that's like the meat and the heart of everything that we wanted to say, and I said it in 30 seconds. But I think that what we're really trying to say is that we are really appreciative of...
Okay, let's look at this. Later service. Okay, improvement. 148th Ave, new bus line. What? That's 2021? These are too far out. What is this? That's come on, I'm not interested. I want now.
The hard work that you all are doing to prioritize transit, and we want to match our
Did
service
Chelsea talk
investments,
here? Wait a minute, go
work.
back.
2017 because
Oh, there's
it's the
Bernie
federal
again. Okay,
standard
no, we
of
want to hear
2017.
the TriMet people. I'm interested in the TriMet.
9,000.
All right. Let's see. Man, okay, he's got a big lung. We got to hear this. I'm sorry, folks.
I think we all know that we face that.
Okay.
Partnership and to
Oh no, her!
to
I can't
improve
stand
transit
her.
and improve the lives of our
I
customers.
can't stand that woman.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
You know why I can't stand her? Because she spoke about the fair enforcement, in favor of the fair enforcement, and she said, quote, "We can't trust people to do the right thing." And that's when I no longer had any respect for this woman here.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Hardesty, Jamie Snook, who is our manager of capital projects, and I are going to tag team our presentation.
Oh, the other one retired, huh?
So I just want to start by saying that as somebody who's been in Portland my whole life and been in and around the transportation world for most of that time, I think this is a seminal moment for the city and harkens back to the partnership between the city and TriMet that we've had since the early 70s. And I think back to, one of the innovations that really the rest of the country looked to in that era of the building of the transit mall, one of the first transit malls in the country. Building of the light rail system, one of the first light rail systems in the country, the first modern streetcar in North America, and now the Division Transit Project and the Rose Lane Initiative. Those are the kinds of things that other cities look to us as leaders on and as innovators and as pioneers. And I'm really proud of the city and of your work on this, Commissioner Udaley in particular, for your leadership. So I'm very proud to be here, just from a personal basis as well as a TriMet representative.
This guy's been in all kinds of different positions. He's been a big shot in the city. He's been a big shot at the State House. Now he's a big shot here at TriMet. I mean, he's another one of these insiders that's been around forever. And he makes a huge salary, of course.
Before I get into detail, I wanted to also acknowledge April Berteson and Kristen Leonard, who've done a tremendous amount of work with us. Jamie Duhamel from Commissioner Udaley's office, Gabe Graff and Timur Ender, who've also been working on the ETC, the Enhanced Transit Projects, which were kind of the harbingers of this Rose Lane initiative. All of them have been tremendous people to work with and have represented the city very well. Commissioner Udaley mentioned the climate crisis. I think we all know that we face that. The mayor and our general manager recently announced a number of initiatives that we're jointly taking to begin to address that from the standpoint of how we operate. Changing the way that the transportation system works is fundamental to our ability to respond to that crisis. The largest sector of the economy that we have not addressed in the carbon emissions world is the transportation sector. And the way that we can address that is by improving transit and moving people from single occupant vehicles into buses and then converting those buses to non-diesel platforms, both of which we're endeavoring to do. I want to just acknowledge that, like the city, our strategy, our goal for this is to make the system fast, frequent, and full. Commissioner Fritz's question about full, we'll get to in a minute. I think we can respond to that and a number of other questions that were raised earlier. We want the system to be full, but not over full. And we want there to be capacity for everybody who needs to get on to be able to get on. We recognize that the commitment that the city is making in this effort is a significant one, and Trimet needs to respond in kind, and we need to increase the commitment that we're making to the lines that are served by these improvements, and we're prepared to do that. I want to just
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide, if you could.
Carla's gone, so.
Sorry.
Carla's not there, so you have to wait for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so do you have, isn't it another slide? Or?
No, she's just
A little confusion here. Come on.
We can't function without Carla.
Sorry. So one slide back from that. One of the questions or the issues that was raised earlier was about, even though the geographic location of these improvements is in the central city, do they benefit people in other parts of the city? And I think that the answer to that is absolutely yes. On this slide, I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but there are 3 little black rectangles there in the central city. Those represent the 3 enhanced transit projects, Central City in Motion projects that have been implemented so far. And the green lines represent the bus lines that use those facilities. And you can see that they serve huge areas of the region, and particularly those East Portland areas that we're trying to improve service in. The time savings that is realized by that improvement in downtown Portland is incredibly important to those customers that are farthest out on the line, because a small disruption in the schedule downtown cascades as the line gets longer, and you get farther and farther away from the scheduled time that we publish and that the customer is expecting to experience. So those changes downtown not only speed up the system, but they make the system
All right, there's
much
no
more
new
reliable,
information here that I
because
can see.
that's where the majority of the uncertainty in the schedule comes, because there are intersections there where sometimes you wait for 10 seconds, sometimes you wait for 10
Yeah, okay,
minutes.
Bernie, you're
and
boring.
We don't know from day to day.
Beat it up, Bernie.
Do jobs
All right, now
around the
what's she
Columbia
got here?
corridor and within East County. I also want to mention on the map that the light gray areas
What's
are
this
our
one?
equity focus areas, and really emphasizing that that's where we're putting most of these service improvements.
STIF.
I also want to emphasize that we've been doing a lot of work since HB 2017 passed
completed.
and working with the Transit Advisory Committee. And the next slide is really showing where we've been advancing those. So the yellow
Equity-
line
look at this.
is showing where
Equity
we've already
Index
started
Composite Score. That is-
improvements, and
what kind of
those are
garbage is
completed.
that?
The
Who they
dark
trying to
blue are looking
fool?
at improvements that are going to be happening in March of 2020. So this spring we'll be additionally putting.
See how they don't look at these improvements here. Okay, this is specific. 4 frequent service lines. Why don't they just tell you, wait a minute, 5 new frequent service? Why don't you just list out what you're talking about here? 2 24-hour service additions, what they're going to, oh, yeah, let's see, they're going to have 2 more 24-hour routes? Wait a minute, I haven't heard that. 8, early, late, 10, it's very vague. All of this is vague.
In more service on on our transit network. And then the blue is the proposed improvements for fiscal year 21. So we're really excited to be moving all of these service improvements forward.
God, it's just too... this is like watching a board meeting.
Anticipated revenues to come in to fund them.
Thank you.
So shifting now just a little bit to the amenities side
Oh,
of the
I don't care about this because, it's just...
waste baskets. And
I don't want to hear
we're
Bernie. Okay.
in compliance on all of those. So all of those.
It's like watching a board meeting. I never was interested in the Trimet board meetings. I'm interested in the public testimonies and the general manager. The rest of it, it's just technocratic, bureaucratic doublespeak. And that's what they're doing here. I can't listen to this. So we'll cut it here. Anyway, I got what I wanted, which was the city, specifically Hardesty slamming Trimet.